Today on our 50 Summer Stories of Pittsburgh Tech with Comcast, we're talking to Tom Lauwers of BirdBrain Technologies. This is really a cool company. I can't wait to talk about all the fun stuff he's working on because he makes me wish I could be like 10 years old again and nerd out and have fun building cool robots and actually controlling them through Zoom now, which I think is pretty cool. And that's going to be part of our conversation today. And that's why I've been having so much fun telling these stories this summer, because so many great solutions are being improvised out there and people are navigating this pandemic despite, and Tom has an awesome story. So glad Comcast is allowing me to do that. And I'm your host, Jonathan Kirsten with the Pittsburgh Tech Council and Tech Vibe Radio. Tom, so glad to have you here today. I cannot wait to start nerding out because you always bring fun stuff.
Yeah,
robots, man. I love robots.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Jonathan. I'm always happy to talk to you and happy to talk about the things we've been doing at BirdBrain Technologies. So yeah, where to begin?
Give us like a nickel tour of BirdBrain and kind of just the overview of what you guys do and how you do it. And I love the fact that you have these direct CMU ties, of course, which just makes it so cool. So tell us about BirdBrain, and we're going to jump into all the fun stuff you're working on this summer.
Yeah. So BirdBrain is 10 years old this year. Actually, it was our 10th birthday in June. We're a spin-off of Carnegie Mellon, and our mission is to inspire deep and joyful learning for all students through creative robotics. So we have two products that were developed at Carnegie Mellon, the Finch robot and the Hummingbird Robotics Kit. And the Finch robot is a robot that's all about learning computer science from, whether you're a kindergartner or a college student. It's meant to be kind of an engaging introduction to the art of programming or coding.
Mm-hmm.
The Hummingbird kit is an electronics kit. So it's like a box of parts, motors, sensors, lots of wires.
Yeah.
And you use it to build robots with arts and crafts materials. So students will use these typically 3rd, 4th grade up through high school to build like crazy animatronic things, robotic dragons, animatronic dioramas, interpretations of poetry.
Whoa, interpretations of poetry.
Yeah,
all right, now we're talking.
So we've been around for 10 years. We see ourselves as primarily focusing on creating learning experiences and doing that in schools or other settings where you have a teacher and a group of students.
Gotcha.
And so, part of our mission, I said, was for all students, and we felt like as a company, working through schools is the most equitable way that we are going to reach the most number of students.
Definitely.
So, in March, the pandemic hits and obviously creates lots of problems for schools operating. Everybody has to go remote all of a sudden, kind of immediately and suddenly. And so in the spring, I see lots of students creating Hummingbird projects, especially building robots, especially in like May and June, end of April, after standardized tests are over. That seems to be when the robots come out in school often.
That's when the real learning begins,
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, right?
Right. You actually get some creativity at the end of the school year. So I knew that wasn't going to necessarily happen this year, and or at least happen in the same way. And so we started trying to develop different ways that we could support students to continue learning at home,
exactly.
Teachers to teach remotely. And so we've come up with a number of different things. We worked with a couple of after school and summer camp providers to create virtual robotics workshops where we ship the kits directly to students' homes, and then they also get an instructor over Zoom to help them create projects. So that worked really well in spring and summer, and it's continuing into fall. I mean, if you think about it, like the daycare and after school challenges aren't over. Like even, your school's remote and they're maybe doing a better job of like engaging your students for a school day than they did in the spring, but you still have after school. You still have to deal with what to do from 3 to 5 or 3 to 6. So that's one piece that we worked on and that we got rolling within a month, like April 15th, I think you could.
I love it. See, just that fast. You're like, we're making
stuff,
right? We're getting it out there, and you do that. I love it.
Another thing that was like interesting. So, my background is as an engineer, typical. So my background is as an engineer, and so I am always focused on technology. In a way, it's kind of like you kind of have to unlearn that to some extent to run a business.
Got
But I get
deprogram yourself a
excited
little
by
bit,
it, right?
right?
Yeah, yeah. You got to sort of geek out about something. So one thing I figured out pretty early on also was how to make robots programmable remotely. And so that means that, you know, I have a robot here, you can program it over there, you can program it anywhere on the internet. You could be in Australia and program this robot.
That's what I'm talking about. I love it. I love it. How much fun were the kids having through Zoom, being able to get a robotics lesson and a programming lesson and then see what they're learning actually go into the action on that robot moving around and doing tasks in front of them?
Yeah, yeah. It was so cool when we first rolled it out. I mean, it's still really cool. Like people don't expect it. They don't think that that's possible almost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, we had within a month, again, like I had set up 5 robots in my house, and I'd created this web page where anyone could go at any time and program them, and they're still set up and running. And you know, excepting like thunderstorms like last week, they
Okay.
run pretty much 24/7.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes the power goes out. I need to figure out a solution to that problem.
Sorry, the robot factory's down right now.
Right. But yeah, like you can see them online, and you can go to this site and program them and move them around and learn a little bit about coding while you're doing that. And I definitely heard from teachers who in the spring were sending their students to that site and saying, hey, go, you know, instead of programming the robots that we don't have at your house, go program these robots. And
do it online. Oh, that's so cool. I love it, man. I know also you early in the pandemic, you were providing a discount and stuff like that on certain kits so people could actually do some stuff at home. You were shipping some kits out, I believe, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we figured out is that the virtual camps work better, and so those roll in the instruction with the kit, and so I think that works really well now. So.
And tell us about these virtual camps. I think this is so important. As you said, we still need to keep kids busy and keep them learning, but they don't know they're learning. They just think they're having fun building robots and doing cool stuff. So what's up with the virtual camps?
So what we figured out was we found 2 providers. Both of them are actually in New York City, and they had been running in-person Hummingbird camps for quite a while. And so they saw an opportunity here. They knew both, okay, well, like our audience is going online, and we need to figure out how to keep these camps going, but also like we could now broaden things, right? We don't have to just enroll people in New York City anymore. We can enroll anyone anywhere in the country. And so the idea is just, you know, they tell us we've got these students signed up, you know, send them all Hummingbird kits. And then they work with the students in typically like an hour-long Zoom session twice a week, like for 4 or 6 weeks, and give them that direct instruction that helps the student kind of get started. And then, you know, there's also kind of asynchronous time where they're building the robots and doing things on their own.
Right.
And it's just, it's awesome to see. And it's a model that we are recommending or encouraging teachers and schools to look at also for this coming school year. So it's sort of a one-to-one robotics model where, you know, where the students get the robots and get to take them home for a few days or weeks, and the teacher can provide some instruction over Zoom, but the students can build the robots. We actually saw a few schools do this also. Often the teacher just sort of let the kids take the robots home without asking permission,
Nice.
like in the spring. And now we're making case studies out of those experiences, and it worked, you know, like I could see like administrators potentially worried about like, well, what if things break, or what if there are issues in the home environment? And what we're finding both from these virtual camps, but also from these examples of teachers allowing the students to take them home, is that's not really a concern. Like the students are able to build robots at home. And since the Hummingbird kit in particular is all about building with arts and craft supplies, all you need is a recycling bin.
Exactly. And an
building
ample supply of macaroni, right?
Yeah.
Pipe cleaners, but and construction paper. Great stuff. Now, before we were starting the interview here, you had mentioned that just as Corona was hitting us, you're getting ready to release the second version of Finch.
Yeah.
And so tell us about that, but you're still going to release it anyhow, which I think is awesome. Because I mean, that the Finch has been your bread and butter, I think, for the big part of what you guys do, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, the Finch was all about, about learning computer science and coding. And about 2 years ago, we started the design process for the next generation of the Finch. So the original Finch came out of Carnegie Mellon, was launched as a commercial product in 2011, and we're still selling them. But we realized, 2 years ago, like, hey, there's a lot of new technology out there. We could upgrade the hardware. We could really do some interesting things. And so we got around to designing it, and we were initially planning to launch early, right around when the pandemic hit. So here's the Finch 2.0.
2.0, looking good.
Yeah, I'm really excited about getting this out. The pandemic did slow us down. There were production delays, supply chain issues, all sorts of issues, really. But we are in the final stages of production now, and
Excellent.
expect to ship them in October and November.
See, just in time for the holiday season.
Yeah, right. That's right.
So tell us about like what else what will Finch 2 do that Finch 1 cannot do?
So it's got lots of LEDs. I love LEDs.
LEDs, all right.
So the beak can light up. There's 4 LEDs in the tail here that can change different colors. There's like an array of LEDs here that you can use. There's a way to mount a pen in this hole.
Okay.
And you can do accurate movement, so you can program it to draw shapes, triangles, etc.
Cool, man.
It has light sensors. It has line sensors, so it can track a line. It has an accelerometer, so you could pick it up and turn it into like a musical instrument with its buzzer. There's just a ton of things that you can do with this. And now with remote robots, you can even program them before we start shipping them. So I'm doing webinars like once every couple of weeks now that are called open playgrounds.
Yeah.
And you come in, I send you a link to program the robot, and then we spend an hour in the studio, the BirdBrain Technologies studio, and you can watch the Finches. I have 6 Finches set up there.
Okay.
You can watch them from the top down. You can watch them from the side. And I even have, so there's some Lego blocks here. I built a little Lego smartphone holder.
Cool.
So you've got a point of view camera from my smartphone also on one of the Finches. So that's
I want to get a Finch too and play with it. Come on, man. This is fun. That is awesome stuff all the way around. So it seems like obviously, man, you've been able to keep things up and going despite the pandemic. In October, you got the Finch 2 coming out, which is pretty exciting. Got these camps going on to keep the kids busy, because we don't know what's happening with school. And even when it is in and out, kids still need to go to these camps. This is a safe way for kids to learn and just have a ton of fun. I wish I could go back, oh my goodness, 40 years and geek out on this stuff as an 8-year-old, because that to me would be so much fun. And what you're doing, Tom, this is what's making Pittsburgh just such a cool city, man. All the way around, this is folks like you that, you take some technology, you license it out and get it into the marketplace, and got this great Carnegie Mellon connections. Everything about it, I think it's just awesome. I just love it.
Oh, thanks, Jonathan. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, it's all about, like I said, creating joyful learning experiences, right? Yeah. Like it's all about getting the kids engaged in this stuff.
That's the most powerful kind. I mean, so many kids, obviously I think about like if I go back 40 years when I was in school, man, nothing was fun. You were just memorizing stuff and being told you got to learn things. But now it's like there's technology like yours where you're just having fun and you're building and you're creating and you don't even know that you're learning. And that to me is awesome. Yeah. Very cool. So thanks for hanging out with me today, Tom. And BirdBrain, what a cool company. And I encourage everyone, go to the website and check you guys out. The website's in the liner notes of this. And Tom, you're the best, man. Thanks for hanging out with me and Comcast, being one of our 50 summer stories of Pittsburgh tech. That's for sure.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Jonathan.